Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Continuing on with college football week 1. Got a good game here. UNLV Houston week 1. Let's go.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, like I said, Rebels are on the road in Houston here. Houston short home favorites, and they pretty much have been all summer. I think this one opened up at 3, got bet down to 1 in like June, I want to say. Looks to be settled back in at 2.5. I do see a couple 2s out there, so we'll see. But this line's been pretty steady for most of the summer. As far as the total, same thing. Sitting at 55.5 across the board. I saw 56s at one point. I saw 54.5. But for the most part, this line's remained pretty consistent. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet here. According to the model, we got a slight lean on Houston, 27.1 to 24.4. These models are using last year's metrics, though, so don't take much away from this. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this one. UNLV bringing back the same coaching staff as last year, so I expect to see a very similar offensive game plan. This is a team that wants to run the ball, no question. 36th in run frequency. If you look at their offensive metrics, they're actually more successful passing the ball. But as far as their play calling, it's pretty clear this team wants to run the football, and their personnel certainly suggests that. They brought in 2 quarterbacks through the portal. One is Matt Sluka from Holy Cross, 1,247 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns. He had some passing yards as well at Holy Cross, but this is an athlete that can run the football, over 1,200 rushing yards. And the other quarterback they brought in is Haj Malik Williams, I believe is his name. Also had 700 rushing yards. So they brought in 2 quarterbacks. I think they're going to use both of them from what I'm reading. But it doesn't matter. Both are athletes. Both can run the football. They also have a superstar running back in the making. Last year as a freshman, Jaden Thomas, 12 rushing touchdowns as a freshman. And he was splitting carries. He wasn't even the RB1. So he's back for his sophomore year. They also brought in Michael Allen from NC State, another talented back. So they've got 2 athletic quarterbacks that can run the football. They've got 2 RBs that could probably be RB1s on most programs. In fact, Jaden Thomas is potentially an NFL kid in the making, and their offensive line should be improved. 3 starters back, including an all-conference right tackle. Here are the metrics from last year. I mean, this is a pretty decent offensive line last year. Should only get better. So no question, UNLV is going to run the ball, and they should be able to do it well. And they're matched up in the opener against the Houston defense. That was very disappointing last year. Here are the run defenses in the left column of this graphic. Not great for Houston standards, certainly below average in all these metrics. And here's the kicker. Everyone's gone. Of their defensive linemen from last year, the 5 leading tacklers are gone. 5. Of their linebackers from last year, 4 of their 5 leading tacklers are gone. This is a brand new defensive front 7 here. Now, to be fair to Houston, they killed it in the transfer portal. I mean, their starting defensive front is all pieces taken from Power 4, big-time programs. I mean, Texas, Ole Miss, USC, you name it. So Houston's got a bright future. I mean, they've got talent in the defensive front. And then you end in the fact that they made a new hire at DC. They brought in Wood from Tulane. Tulane had a really good run defense last year, 25th in yards per carry allowed, 41st in run defense success rate, 34th in effective rush. So they've got talent on the defensive front, and they made the correct hire to build a successful run defense. So maybe as soon as the second half of this season or next season, we should see Houston with a drastically improved run defense. But, I mean, look where they're coming from. Look where they were last year. This is a really bad defense. We're talking about week 1 against a UNLV team that should be a really dangerous rushing attack, bringing back a ton of production. So I just really hate this matchup. I really hate this opening matchup for Houston. Now, as far as Houston's offense on the other side, there are some bright spots. I mean, their offense last year, it was pretty much a one-man show here with Donovan Smith. They were 25th in pass frequency. They put the ball in his hands every team does that with their quarterback, but he was also one of their best rushers as well. So Houston's offense went as far as Donovan Smith could take them last year, and he wasn't bad at all. 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 2,800 yards. He's also, like I mentioned, an athlete. Now, there are some other bright spots on this Houston offense this year. One is Parker Jenkins. Last year, as a true freshman, 464 yards rushing, 4.7 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. Now, you might be thinking, like, okay, for a true freshman, that's cool, but that doesn't move the needle. But check this out. When they gave this kid the ball, the rushing attack was successful. In games Jenkins had 10-plus rushing attempts, Houston's offense as a whole, 148.8 rushing yards per game, 4.66 yards per carry, and look at the offensive line numbers, 3.39 adjusted line yards. So when they gave this kid the ball, the offense was successful. Now, I know that's super thin. We're only talking about 4 games. Sam Houston State, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. There's some tough games in there, and this kid was a freshman. So bringing him back as a sophomore, Donovan Smith comes back experienced. That's a couple nice weapons to build an offense around. And then you compare those numbers to the other 8 games where they didn't give Jenkins 10-plus touches. I mean, there's a clear drop-off. Yards per carry drops to 3.89, offensive line yards down. No question, the offense was much more successful when that freshman Jenkins was involved. So bringing him back for his sophomore year alongside Donovan Smith, looking pretty solid. As far as their offensive line, I'm a little concerned for this week 1 game. It is not that they don't have talent. In fact, the Houston offensive line is pretty comparable to the defensive line. Here are their numbers from last year. Pretty bad, right? I mean, about average as far as their PFF grades, but the other advanced metrics below average. They lost everyone, kind of similar to their defensive line. 4 starters gone on the offensive line, but just like their defensive line, they killed it in the portal. They brought in all kinds of Power 4 major program pieces. Problem is, it's week 1. I mean, it's week 1. Are we expecting Houston's offensive line to just show up and gel in week 1? We've seen a couple instances already. I mean, look at Florida State against Georgia Tech. That's a very good offensive line. Should have dominated Georgia Tech's defensive front, but it was week 0, and they just weren't meshing yet. So really don't like how it's a brand new offensive line here for week 1. And look, I know UNLV's defense was nothing special last year. In fact, 104th in yards per play allowed, 113th in defensive PPA. But look at their numbers against the run. If there was one strength of this UNLV defense, it was defending the run. 66 in yards per carry allowed, 42nd in effective rush. And they're bringing some pieces back in that defensive front. 3 of their top 4 defensive linemen are back. 3 of their top 4 linebackers are also back. So I expect UNLV to be a solid run defense again. Yeah, maybe they're vulnerable in the secondary. And yeah, I'm sure Donovan Smith's going to be able to make some plays through the air. But as a whole, how do we not take the points with UNLV here? They should be able to run the ball no problem in this game. There's a talent discrepancy. No question, Houston has a lot more talent than UNLV does. But as far as current state of the team in week 1, I like UNLV's spot a lot better. So I did bet UNLV. I took them plus 2.5. Look, I feel like it's going to be a very public dog. I feel like everyone's betting UNLV. Not that would necessarily scare me off it. It's just not something I love to see. But I did bet it. I'm on UNLV plus 2.5. If you want to see all the bets I currently have open in college football or NFL coming up, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on open bets. I'm under Sauce, and you can click on the names and see anyone on the staff. They're open bets. So head over to Kyle Kirms and sign up for Sauce Network Plus if you're interested. Also comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 and a trophy go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over there. Live shows, weekdays, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, weekends, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. We'll go through every single game on the board. Saturday morning show should be pretty loaded. We're going through, I think 27 games or something. We'll be live from 10 a.m. all the way up to kickoff at noon. So we'd love to see you there. Let's have ourselves a great week 1 here. Off to a nice little start. I made a few dollars in week 0, hit Coastal money line last night, feeling pretty good. Hopefully that continues. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.